Have you ever had a headache and just popped an aspirin? Or gotten a cut and reached for a bandage and some antiseptic? It feels so simple, so routine. But have you ever stopped to think about the incredible, millennial-long journey that brought us these medical marvels? The history of medicine isn't just a dusty old textbook. It's a gripping saga of brilliant minds, bizarre beliefs, devastating plagues, and life-saving breakthroughs. It's the story of how we, as a species, fought back against the invisible enemies that have threatened us since the dawn of time. So, buckle up, because we're about to take a whirlwind tour through the entire history of medicine, from trepanning to gene therapy. Our story begins long before written records, in prehistoric times. Imagine your ancestor, thousands of years ago, suffering from a splitting headache. What would they do? Well, archaeological evidence suggests they might have undergone a procedure called trepanning. This involved drilling a hole into the skull, possibly to release evil spirits, believed to be causing the illness. While it sounds horrifying, the fact that many skulls show signs of healing suggests that some people actually survived. Early humans were also keen observers of nature. They were the original herbalists, discovering through trial and error which plants could soothe a fever, which could stop bleeding, and which were, well, best avoided. This was the birth of pharmacology, a practice passed down through generations long before the first prescription was ever written. Now, let's fast forward to the great ancient civilizations. In Egypt, medicine became more systematic. The Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest medical texts in the world, lists over 700 magical formulas and remedies for everything from crocodile bites to mental illness. Egyptian physicians had specialized roles and even understood the importance of the pulse and the heart, although their knowledge of anatomy was limited by religious beliefs that forbade dissection. Meanwhile, in ancient Greece, a revolution was brewing. A man named Hippocrates stepped onto the scene and changed everything. He is famously called the father of medicine because he was one of the first to argue that diseases were not punishments from the gods, but had natural causes. He proposed a theory of the four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. He believed that health was a state of balance among these four fluids, and illness was the result of an imbalance. While the theory itself was incorrect, the core idea that health depends on internal balance was a monumental shift in thinking. The Hippocratic Oath, a pledge of ethical conduct for doctors, still influences medical ethics to this day. Then came the Roman Empire. The Romans were brilliant engineers, and their greatest contribution to public health was just that: engineering. They built massive aqueducts to supply clean water, public baths for hygiene, and sewer systems to carry away waste. These infrastructure projects dramatically reduced the spread of disease. A notable physician of this era was Galen, a Greek who served as a physician to Roman emperors. He expanded on Hippocrates' ideas, and through his work on gladiators and dissections of animals, developed a more detailed, though still flawed, understanding of human anatomy. For the next 1,300 years, Galen's writings would be the undisputed medical authority in Europe. After the fall of Rome, Europe entered the Middle Ages. Much of the classical knowledge was lost or suppressed. Medical practice was a blend of herbal folklore, religious superstition, and remnants of Galen's teachings. Monasteries became the centers of learning, preserving and copying ancient texts. However, in the Islamic Golden Age, things were very different. Scholars like Avicenna wrote the Canon of Medicine, a monumental encyclopedia that synthesized Greek and Roman knowledge with new discoveries. This book became the standard medical textbook in both the Islamic world and Europe for centuries. Islamic hospitals were remarkably advanced, with separate wards for different diseases and a focus on patient care and recovery. Then, in the mid-14th century, disaster struck. The Black Death, a terrifying bubonic plague pandemic, swept across Asia and Europe, wiping out an estimated 1/3 to 1/2 of the population. Doctors were powerless. Their robes, beaked masks filled with herbs, and theories of bad air or miasma did little to stop the fleas and rats carrying the deadly bacteria. This catastrophe shattered public faith in existing medical knowledge and, in a way, paved the way for new ideas. The Renaissance sparked a renewed interest in science and the human body. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and anatomists like Andreas Vesalius defied tradition and performed human dissections. Vesalius's groundbreaking book on the fabric of the human body corrected hundreds of Gallen's anatomical errors and laid the foundation for modern anatomy. It was a true revolution, showing that direct observation was more valuable than ancient texts. The 17th and 18th centuries brought more incredible discoveries. The invention of the microscope by Antonie van Leeuwenhoek opened up a whole new, invisible world. He was the first to see animalcules, or what we now know as bacteria and other microorganisms. In 1796, an English country doctor named Edward Jenner made an observation that would save countless lives. He noticed that milkmaids who contracted the mild disease cowpox seemed to be immune to the deadly smallpox. He tested his theory by inoculating a young boy with cowpox and then exposing him to smallpox. The boy remained healthy. This was the birth of vaccination, a concept that would eventually eradicate smallpox from the planet. The 19th century was perhaps the most transformative period in medical history. In the 1840s, the horror of surgery without pain relief came to an end with the introduction of anesthesia, using substances like ether and chloroform. Patients no longer had to be held down while fully conscious, but surgery remained incredibly dangerous due to post-operative infections. A French chemist named Louis Pasteur definitively proved that germous microorganisms cause disease. Building on this germ theory, a British surgeon named Joseph Lister pioneered antiseptic surgery. By sterilizing his instruments and using carbolic acid to clean wounds, he dramatically reduced mortality rates and turned surgery from a last resort into a viable treatment. Around the same time, people like Florence Nightingale professionalized nursing and emphasized sanitation and hygiene in hospitals, fundamentally changing patient care. The 20th century accelerated this pace of discovery at an exponential rate. The accidental discovery of penicillin by Alexander Fleming in 1928 ushered in the age of antibiotics, providing a cure for previously fatal bacterial infections. We mapped the human genome, developed vaccines for diseases like polio and measles, invented sophisticated imaging technologies like X-rays, CT scans, and Mr. Izzat allow us to see inside the body without a single incision. We learned how to transplant organs, perform open-heart surgery, and develop targeted therapies for cancer. And that brings us to today, the 21st century. We are living in an era of personalized medicine, where treatments can be tailored to an individual's genetic makeup. We're exploring gene editing with CRISPR, developing mRNA vaccines at record speed, and using artificial intelligence to diagnose diseases more accurately than ever before. From drilling holes in skulls to editing our own DNA, the journey has been nothing short of extraordinary. The history of medicine is a testament to human curiosity, resilience, and our relentless desire to understand and improve our own lives. It reminds us to be grateful for the simple things, like a clean bandage or an effective pill, and to be hopeful for the incredible discoveries that still lie ahead. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the wonders of science and history. See you next time.